Good morning. It is Brian. It is the Art of Startup War. Again, I am back with a phenomenal entrepreneur, not an entrepreneur that we are promoting or that we like or we want to tell people about. No, an entrepreneur, a startup, a future unicorn in my mind that we have invested in. And I could not be more happy that we've actually done that act. So today we're going to talk about the diligence we went through, but not in a boring way. We're going to talk about the hero's journey diligence. So we're going to talk about how to here took Mpost, how he took it from that early seed of an idea all the way through to the company building a minimum viable product, all the way through to the company hitting market traction, and what's going to come in the future as he continues to expand that company. So it's going to be an exciting 35 minutes where you get inside this company and gives you enough information so that you can then make investment decisions, at least for next meeting yourself. So, as always, do not take this as investment advice. Take it as an investor telling you all of the good stuff that they did so you can make better decisions. Okay, Twahir, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Brian. How are you?
I feel great. I feel great. It's a beautiful Friday morning. It's a Friday evening for you over in Africa, right?
Yeah, Kigali, where we're expanding to. Yeah,
Fantastic.
currently in
Fantastic.
for the past 2 weeks. Yeah.
Amazing. Can you take us back to the beginning? Like we're going to go to what Mpost are doing right now, but take us back right to the start, maybe a little bit into your history. Talk us about what you were doing when you first came up with the idea and how you turned it into something that could be implemented.
Yeah. So back into time, I used to work for the World Bank. That is as a consultant at the Kenya ICT board, uh, where I I was able to validate most of the things that are happening, the changes, tech changes that are happening in Kenya. And during that time, I paid a visit to Silicon Valley, so met a bit some entrepreneurs. That time, YouTube was just being sold to Google, and I was like, man, these guys are lucky. So going back home, my
It's true.
contract had ended because he was lucky because he was reporting back to Google, and he told us, I'm just from the Amazon from a 3 month sabbatical. I said that one day might be me. So going back to Kenya, all these changes are happening. Digital, the fiber optic cable is coming in, and one day my cousin says has missed a job opportunity. Why? Because he got his letter 3 months late, and he was not notified. And I asked him, "You don't have your own PO box?" Or he tells me he shares the one with the mosque at the where I come from. I come from the south of Kenya, an island called Wasini. So they share that address, PO box address, with the mosque. So the idea came that. So I and my friend called Abdul Aziz, uh, we said, Aziz told me, why don't we set a technology that would notify a person on the PO box? So we came up with a technology that when a letter is placed on a physical PO box, it is scanned and sends a notification. But this wasn't enough because that one PO box has many individuals sharing that address. So that's when an idea came to me. Everyone has a mobile phone. Everyone has a SIM card, and these SIM cards have unique numbers. And that's at that point there was the number portability issue. So there are very many mobile networks. So people wanted to own their numbers. So the idea came, why can't, even if we own the numbers, then that can be an address. So we have 30 million people, adults, who are sharing 400,000 PO boxes.
Wow. Isn't that crazy? I want to draw a line under this for a second because I feel that most people, especially folks who are outside Africa, they don't understand the absolute enormity of this problem and this market. Because
Yeah.
most people, especially in the United States, would imagine that everybody has an address, like especially consumers. You have your place, you live there, this is your place. But that's not the case in Africa, right? I mean, how many people in Africa do not have a physical address that can be used either for packages to be delivered to or for any type of address reasoning for living?
So we are looking at 99% of the population. This
Wow.
is when people are trying to figure out to structure the physical addressing system. Today, there was just a tweet that came out of Nairobi that the county government is looking to embark on a physical laying out of property so that they are able to number those property. So there is no proper structure in physical addressing. Yes, Google Maps can be there, but I have, even when I use the Google Maps, I have to call and ask, which building is it? Is
Wow.
it the red building? Is it the one next to a tree? No proper street naming. That's how huge the problem is.
Wow.
And that's why companies like Amazon today cannot ship into Africa because they don't know whether the goods or packets are being received by the right
It's unbelievable, isn't it? What a huge problem. And this is what delighted me so much when you and I first started talking, because we generally spend, as venture capitalists, we spend all of our time looking for the very highest tech solution we possibly can with algorithms built into it that protect it. But here we have one of the most important underlying problems facing humanity within an entire continent where they don't even have the ability to have things that they've bought delivered to them because it's impossible to find them. And you came up with this piece, and they had the combined problem that they couldn't use PO boxes because there were not enough of PO boxes to actually meet the needs of all of the people. And you came up with the brilliant solution of taking a unique identifier, and the
Yes.
unique identifier that people keep pretty much forever. I've had the same mobile number for 20 years. Like it hasn't
Yeah.
changed. It's not going to change for the next 10 years. Like it's my mobile number, right? And so it is the one thing that you know is absolutely safe. So if I have
Yes.
my mobile number tied into a PO box where I know where something is going to be delivered, wow, for the very first time, I am in control of my
Exactly.
entire world around me. So it's very brilliant what you've done. And then so you worked this out and you're like, "Oh my god, this could potentially be huge." What did you do to start the company? And who did you bring in with you to help you with the company? And how did you manage to logistically arrange everything?
So how we started the company was I had a friend called Aziz. He's more business oriented. So we started as a team. We brought in five technical guys. So actually, I built the system from the sitting room, my sitting room, coding, built. Then we approached the postal office. We tell them we have this beautiful idea. We know you can't afford to build 30 million PO boxes because steel is expensive, concrete is expensive
Mm,
just to build that physical structure, but we can convert the mobile phone into a virtual box. So they give us a pilot project, 3 months pilot project. They give us an office. We move in there with our team and bring in 10 salespeople. They give us a target of 1,500 addresses, digital addresses during the 3 months period. Guess what? the salespeople bring that in one day,
Whoa, that's nice.
which created
How did you
validation.
do that? By the way, how did you do that? How did you bring it in one day? Like, what do? You got 10 people in a sales office. What are you telling them? Are they
So
picking up the phone or what are they doing?
I tell them the good thing we were under the banking hall. So we go right down the banking hall. We train the salespeople. We tell them this has never been done before, but this is a solution that can be done. So go out there, ask people whether they would want to sign up at the bank, the postal halls. So that was our first MVP. Then we moved on from the postal halls the next month because that was every day people were seeing us. So we moved from the postal halls to the social media, where we got a lot of signups going from the social media to the website.
Wow. And
Yeah.
you did it in
So
one day. Get out of
yeah.
here.
So in 3 months, we achieved 20,000 digital addresses. So the minister, were called in by the cabinet secretary of ICT. He was blown away. By that time, we had patented the product. We had also trademarked so that we cover ourselves. Remember, we are in Africa and we are talking to government. So we wanted to cover ourselves first before talking to them. So we did all that and moved in. So we we got a new co-founder called John Wambugu. John Wambugu is now the legal mind. So he is the one who helped us even draft the contract with the post office.
Fantastic. And then what did you do? So now you're saying we have something huge. Like the problem is not that we have to find users or worry about cost of acquisition. We got the opposite problem. We have a tiger by the tail. So what do
So
you then do? You have your now three co-founders. John has just joined the team. You've got
yes,
legal covered. You've got business and logistics covered. You've
yes,
got product development covered. Very strong founding team. And by the way, for investors listening, this to us is an important reason why we also invested as well, because we felt that the diversity of knowledge within the team was exceptional to be able to build out. We also loved the growth. So then what do? You now have those 20,000 addresses. You have people paying you on a monthly basis, right?
yeah, on an annual basis.
An annual
So
basis, yeah.
so it's an annual subscription.
Mhm,
So the next thing is 20,000 people have signed up. What are they going to use the address for?
mhm.
So we had to figure out meantime. So 90% use that to import goods from Alibaba, AliExpress, and even Amazon.
Sure.
So we had to learn the postal system of how goods are imported because everybody was calling our call center asking,
Ooh.
where is my product? So they thought it is an express service. But remember, our addressing system is built on a logistics system of the postal network, which is quite complex. So we had to learn that complex network, learn to answer our customers.
Wow.
That it takes 2 weeks for a package to reach, not 7 days as DHL. But look, this competitor of ours is 10 times expensive than what you normally get with the postal system. So that also validated our addressing system and got more people on board. So we ended up by word of mouth getting 40,000 people onboarded. After which, so the cabinet secretary tells us, no, you need to launch this thing in a massive way. So we get the post
And
office
and
gets
by the way, when was this? And also, and while you're answering, when was this? I know that potential investors listening are going to be saying, Brian, ask them, How much subscription is he getting every single year? How much is each of the 40,000 people paying on an annual basis? So talk us through the timeline a little bit and then how much people were paying and did that change at all?
So from idea to rolling out, we to having a proper system that took 3 years. So that's we're talking about a launch in 2019.
Mhm.
So the 2019, then the system crashes because we have a huge launch.
It makes sense. It makes sense. You know, it's
We have
really funny.
100,000 people hitting our system.
Ooh,
We are just used to a small cohort of people. So the minister calls us, and this is on live TV. He says, "If that didn't happen, then I know you stole that idea from somewhere. But now this validates that this is a good idea, and
wow.
it's an original idea." So we were really scared that he might say, "You guys go out of here." But that didn't happen. So he validated that this idea is novel and we can continue working with the post office and learn, scale it out through, scale the technology out, have a well planned tech system that is scalable.
Fantastic. And then put you in a place whereby you could build it out. I do believe like some of the greatest products that I've ever worked with here at Expert Dojo, they've all encountered the same thing because of the hyper growth. The systems had to be rebuilt to actually deal with impossible to expect traffic at such an
Yeah.
early stage. But it's such a great sign because what it tells you is that the biggest challenge that early stage venture capital based startups face is product fit. Is their customer loving their product? Nobody, very few have a problem with customers liking their product. Like most folks can sell something, right? That's the hard thing with venture capital. There's so many false positives and negatives, but when you're breaking systems because there's so many people trying to buy, that is money in the bank for folks like us. So when did this happen? This
So
was Mhm,
this is time period 2016, 2017. 2016, the idea stage. We
mhm,
get the post office, the 1,500 signups. 2019, we get the 20,000 launch. We launch with a telco called Safaricom. So
yep,
the idea was, uh, shop with M-Pesa. Safaricom is the biggest mobile money provider in Africa. So the idea was linking up M-Pesa and Mpost. So you shop online with M-Pesa because they had just signed a deal with Alibaba, then ship with Mpost. So that was the idea. So we
wow,
got a huge subscription base of 200K, but the paying ones were 42,000.
nice.
So how do we convert the rest of 152,000?
And how much were the 42,000 paying?
They're paying $3 per year on
Nice,
subscription.
nice.
Yes. So another problem also, or not a problem, cropped up, a question from the custom. So the goods, the e-commerce items arrive at the post office. They get a notification. Hey, Brian, your item has arrived at your virtual postal address. Do you want to go pick it up? So the customers started saying, why don't you deliver it to our home address?
Mm.
To the building where we stay or to any favorite part. So we started building the technology where we can track you via GPS station. So your address becomes movable. So now it's not a virtual PO box, but a movable virtual address. And that's when we started doing last mile delivery.
So powerful. And you know, for folks listening, I'm sure in their mind they're thinking, huh, $3 or $4 a year multiplied by 40,000 people, $120,000. Shoot. If he just gets it to like 400,000 people, which is not that many people, suddenly you're at over $1 million in revenue for the year. And this is an incredibly high margin value proposition. Oh, and by the way, that's just based on $3 or $4 a year. Now think about all of the additional things that these people will buy once they're in the system. You can build reward systems for them. You can build referral system for them. Like there's so much. So it's
Yeah.
a small jump. So talk to us about how the team has evolved today, how many folks you have in the team. Maybe talk about some of the real challenges. I mean, mind you, you've already talked about the challenges. You had enough difficult challenges to kill a normal person, but you broke through them. Your team broke through them because you knew your customers really want this. So speak a little bit about how you're evolving everything right now, both the product, you've raised money from us, how you're going to raise money elsewhere outside. And then also, as that revenue is evolving from that $120,000 a year through to that $1 million and onwards.
So the team evolved from 2020. COVID happens. Aziz falls off the team, decides to begin another venture, and I and Wambugu remained in the Mpost team. So we continue with the dream of that, eh, of addressing, ensuring everyone has a postal address. And and now in Kenya, we have 11, we are at 11 permanent team members, 9 of them tech guys,
Mhm.
uh, including me. And we have 2 business people. We are adding a COO this year into the team. She's called Jessica Colasso. She's the founder. She was founder of iHub and Brave Ventures. But so what we are doing, and she's been a long-time friend since the World Bank days. So she wants to bring her expertise into this team.
Nice.
Uh, we we also have added a CFO, Winnie. Winnie is the CFO. She's has experience, wide experience in acquisitions, projections, and all that. So she came in to assist I and Wambugu. And right now, tech is also evolving. During COVID, we were able to re-evolve the tech to a point where that now we have various channels of registration. We have WhatsApp, we have USSD, we have a mobile app. So no one can say, from someone who doesn't have internet to someone who has a smartphone, all of them can get a digital address. We want to reach, we've started with the investments we've gotten this year. We've started above the line marketing. We've never done above the line marketing. When we started out this year, we've started out with 200,000 paying customers. Today, we've just gotten news out of Nairobi, out of the the line marketing. We've added another 20,000 users,
Wow.
paying users, just like that. So our aim is to reach 1 million paying users in Kenya. We just launched in Rwanda, and we have an
Just hang on,
amazing.
hang on, hang on, hang on. Let me just savor this. 1 million users in Kenya alone. How many of those would be paid users?
We want the 1 million to be paying users, because
A
currently we have
million paid
100,000 paying
users.
users.
Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is so powerful. The only, by the way, the only thing we're even going to talk about here, which to me is any kind of even barrier. And I look, when I'm on these calls for fellow investors, I'm looking for anything. I'm looking to share all of our diligence, anything that was for me something that maybe is not quite so positive. It's hard to go for. So you have some ammunition, but it's so hard here. It's so difficult. Like the only area we'll look at is just the defensibility and the competition, but we won't look at it yet because there's so many good things here. Like, look at this. Africans, by the way, it's not just Africans. It starts in Africa. Then it's going to be a race for other developing nations as well, where you have, my goodness, like just the opportunity. And then you're talking about actually immigrants everywhere in the world can have access to this too. So talk to us about, firstly, this year, expected revenue for 2023 and expected users. And let's include Kenya's million in there.
So we are looking at 1.5 million users, both in Kenya and Rwanda.
Wow.
We want in Kenya it's 1.5 US dollars per subscription. In Rwanda we are looking at $5 per subscription. That's net revenue. So doing the math, we're looking at an 2.5 million by the close of 2023. And when we reach that mass market, because our revenue model currently is on annual subscription fee, the notification fees, and the last mile. But once we have that critical mass, then we can go to banks, we can go to financial institutions, governments, bodies, even private bodies for address verification. So for every address, if you want to verify an address of an individual, then we will charge a bit on that too. So
Wow.
making use of big data. So that is once we achieve that, and that means more revenue for Mpost.
And then, so, I mean, where does this end? Do you even need to raise money? I mean,
Yes, we do.
yeah.
Yes, we do.
No,
The reason
I don't mean now. I mean, now you need to raise money for the infrastructure of the company because you're growing at such an incredible rate that you have to do it. I just wonder about going forward to Series A and Series B. I'm not even sure you need to raise money at these stages because this is such a high profit margin industry. And once you control that, it's a land grab, right? And once you control the land, then you control everything and the money keeps coming in, and the additional products are just about more people selling more products for you to win.
it's true, Brian. But remember, this problem is not only in Africa, as you said correctly. It's even in Southeast Asia. India is a good,
Huge.
huge to solve. We look at even in the developing countries, this can be offered to immigrants, as you said, the homeless people in Los Angeles. This can be a solution for them in order to get their social security.
Wow.
So it impacts across the world, especially the underprivileged. But also it makes business sense for whoever wants to invest in us, not only because you're making a profit, but also you're changing lives.
You really are. And it's not just the minimum convenience that's expected. It's the minimum dignity that's expected by anyone. I mean, governments should be providing this to homeless. You're right. It's interesting you pick Los Angeles because it's such a terrible problem, but it's all over the world. Like it's everybody.
Yeah.
So first of all, nobody questions your execution power because you've done it. Nobody questions listening to this call that this is a fantastic market, a great brand, a phenomenal idea, and a great implement. Nobody questions that. Nobody questions that this can make a ton of money going forward. Like nobody. And nobody questions that this is really important for the world to have this in place in such a way that's simple and easy for people to use. Talk to us about how the heck you defend this from all of the pretenders who are going to come into the market and say, I want to provide PO boxes. I want to add on telephone numbers to it. How do you defend your market against everybody coming at you?
See, it's something that happens even now as we speak, but first mover advantage, passion, and the team between me and Wambugu and the core team, that's what is driving us. So, for example, apart from the patent that we have that acts as a deterrent,
Mm-hmm.
our own fast mover advantage within the post offices, we've already even gotten a recommendation letter from the Universal Postal Union that we can roll out. And this has been sent out to the post offices. It's just a matter of us going to introduce ourselves. But that's how we defend ourselves from all that.
I love that answer because you could have easily defaulted to the patents straight away, but patents are so difficult to defend. I think all technologies,
Yeah.
uh, all of these things are incredibly hard to do. The way to win is to win. That's it.
Yes. So it's first
Aggressive.
advantage.
It's
Yeah.
first mover and aggressive growth, and I love
Yes.
that, and I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, "What culture are you looking to build?" And he said, "We're young, we're vicious animals, and we're going directly at the market head first. We got
Let
plenty of time to build culture after we dominate." And that's what I love about what you're doing, like, you are there is a it's hard to describe, but when you listen to the podcast and you listen to what Tohir is saying about how they're going after markets and how they're implementing so quickly, you can feel that there's a desire and an intent here to absolutely take the whole continent within the next 3 to 4 years. And that's the race, right?
Yes. You've described it perfectly, Brian. That is the race. Just taking over, ensuring there is one brand across all these markets. Mpost will be one brand, and we take over.
I
Yeah.
love that. And then, so I want to finish up with everybody really feeling what this road to a unicorn looks like. Although I think probably folks have an idea. So you're going to have to like even raise up the wow a little bit more because in people's heads, people are thinking, crikey, if they're going to have 1.5 million users and they're paying even if it's $3 a month that they're going to pay, that's a couple of $1 million a year immediately. And that's just with 2 countries. Now imagine you then add on an extra 2, 3, 4, 5 countries. Imagine you add on an additional continent. We haven't even spoken about Latin America and the opportunities that there are in Latin America yet. The opportunities are endless here. It's absolutely huge. So take us just in the last couple of minutes. First of all, very important that people get your contact information so that they can reach out to you and so that they can connect with you. And then, second, finish us up with what this vision of a incredible world dominating company looks like within what time period, and as an investor coming on board today, what can they expect from you?
So my my vision is to have one Mpost, especially in Africa, where we have even landlocked countries which cannot even reach the ports, the ocean ports. So they depend on other countries for importing things or bringing stuff. And those countries cannot find particular addresses or such stuff. Then when we have one network, because 85% of Africa now has mobile phones, well-connected SIM cards, opening up that for e-commerce, opening up that and rely on the Africa Free Trade Area Agreement that is being implemented this year, meaning that people can do commerce across these countries. And we're looking at 52, 53 countries, different states having one addressing platform that can be used for KYC.
Mm.
The platform can be used for remittances across these nations. That platform can open up e-commerce within the continent and even outside the continent. Then that creates a future, a basic structure for even all these beautiful application and unicorns that are being built. So for example, Uber, all these others can come on top also of our addressing system.
There's no end to it. You have it all to hear. And
Yes.
also bear in mind, investors, that when you have a situation like a continent like Africa, which is expanding and growing so quickly, everybody wants to avoid chaos and have structure. It's the only way. And how do you avoid chaos and you embrace structure? It's by making sure that the folks that are winning the race in business are the FedEx type companies, the companies that are trusted, the companies that have already provided a phenomenal service in the same sector in additional countries. So as this land grab, continues and heats up, you're going to find Mpost in a better and better and better position as they become more and more trusted in all of the places. Thank you,
Yeah.
my friend. I couldn't be happier. You've got one more thing? I love it.
So I'm raising a 2 million round, and folks can reach me at twahir at mpost.co.ke. On LinkedIn, I'm Twahir Mohammed, Mpost. Thank you.
By the way, how much have you raised so far?
So far, we have confirmed 500K.
So just think about this, everybody. With only $500,000, Mpost are lined up for over $3 million of revenue this year. Can you imagine what they would do with $2 million? Just imagine. The world is not safe. Thank you, my friend. You're an
Thank you, Brian.
incredible entrepreneur, great founder, brilliant business, fantastic implementation, growth that just makes my Irish heart warm. And I love the fact that we got an investment into you and we get to watch and be a part of your great growth as you go forward.
Thank you, Brian. It's great to have you as an investor and a champion for Mpost.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap.